Hello, I'm here with Caitlin to talk about Intel keys and other things. But the first thing is the Intel keys article. There was a Intel security breach of some sort having to do with the firmware, and the explanations of this from Intel were inadequate. So this third-party company binarily analyzed it, and they found out that multiple firmware images were using the same private key for the secure boot process, which is a no-no. And Intel's explanation is, oh, those people just use our sample code with the sample key. But they found out that that is not true. The Intel private key leaked and was used by multiple manufacturers. And they say this means Intel Boot Guard may not be effective on quite a lot of devices. And it also makes you ask, what is going on here? Not the people at Intel or these device manufacturers seem to have any idea what they're doing, because that makes no sense at all. The whole logic of a private key and code signing is that you know where it came from. And how would any company use somebody else's private key and think that's okay? And how would anybody get somebody else's private key and think that's okay? This seems like so many things I find in the cryptography space to rely upon almost everybody involved fundamentally misunderstanding how cryptography works. So I'm glad this third-party research company has brought it out. And as I've been learning on Pulse Security Podcast, the boot process is shockingly insecure and risky, and the current attempts to secure it are very bad. So anyway, you got the QAnon shaman.
I do. So ky3.com has this article talking about the QAnon shaman, who is a traitor to the United States, a seditionist, who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. He was the most famous one there because he dressed up like a Viking and attacked the Capitol because obviously the person's not all there. So like all crazy people, he's running for the U.S. Capitol, running for Congress. So
yeah, but he's a libertarian. I mean, as a Republican, he might have a chance.
There is a strong link between Republican ideology and libertarian ideology. And in fact, I kind of honestly get it. I mean, the Republicans tricked him into sedition, essentially. But still, he's a seditionist. He should not be running for Congress whatsoever. But anyway,
They'd probably make him speaker in the current Congress.
I mean, but like I said, if you look at people that do actually run, you have to be a little out there. You have to be a little crazy to do this. It's not a fun job, and it doesn't pay very well, believe it or not. It's just, that it's supposed to attract public servants, right? It's supposed to attract the people that just want to help their community. Unfortunately, these are seats of power, so it does somewhat oftentimes attract the wrong kind of people, including the QAnon shaman.
I think quite a few of them join as idealists when they're young, but they get corrupted.
That too. But once again, that's what it's there for. I mean, it's for people that really feel like they want to give back to their community and they feel like they have the talents to do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you are kind of crazy or a narcissist of some kind, you feel that, oh, well, I could lead. I mean, despite the fact that there are millions of people more qualified than you that think they can't. So,
I think also it's incredibly discouraging because the first thing you find out is that you have spent 90% of your time begging for money. And the second thing you find out is that you can't actually accomplish any of the things you thought you were going to do there.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that it's not a fun job where you get to just sit and make decisions. You spend most of the time getting money, and then your aides are the ones who are actually doing the real work, essentially.
And you just end up being sort of roped into voting the wrong way on things you don't want to vote on, and the stuff you care about doesn't happen.
Yeah, you have to make compromises with people who maybe you don't want to, but you have to for whatever reason. I mean, it's not a fun job. I pity anyone who is elected to Congress or really most government positions, to be honest.
Well, I sort of like the QAnon shaman. It seemed to me like he was nonviolent and just sort of harmlessly crazy. He reminded me of sort of a lot of people in Berkeley who fought around in strange costumes with a crazy religion.
He's a seditionist. Just anyone who's fought against the United States should not be in Congress, period.
Well, the Constitution is on your side. It's in there that people who have performed sedition against the United States are not eligible to serve public office, but that doesn't seem to be true in practice.
No, I mean, yeah, no, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I got a couple AI stories, which the first one I didn't even want to include at first because it talked about digital twins, but I read it again. And this is something that's been going around for decades. So they say, why do they do animal research? They should just use a computer simulation of an animal to test these drugs and stuff. And that would never work. But and at first I thought that's what they're pushing here, but it's a little smarter than that. This is something actually I wanted to do for decades. If you take drugs, they just give you like the standard dose of drugs, which is from like a trial of 1 million random people. And so if all the people were the same, that would make sense. But people are really not all the same. And there are a few drugs I know, like warfarin, where they really do have to carefully adjust the dosage for each person. But they probably should be doing that for a whole lot of things, including simple things like vitamin D. We should each be taking different amounts of it. So they are improving computer models of patients, and they call that your digital twin. They will carefully adjust the medical procedures, and they're using it for like removing cancer tumors, where they have a digital model of your cancer tumor and they use it. And apparently the digital models are good enough that they can actually test different forms of surgery and different drugs in the computer and choose which one to put on you. So it's coming. I mean, I don't know how much good it's done people yet, but I think soon it will be coming, where they really personalize your medical treatment with a lot of computer information about your body. And that would probably make things a lot better than treating people as if they were all the same. And the other AI one is pretty awful. We've heard of revenge porn, but now there is deep fake bounties, where these guys get requests. I want a fake video of this celebrity doing this thing, and they will pay you to do that. They'll pay you to make deep fakes of real people and celebrities. And so this seems like it's almost certainly illegal, but it's related to, say, the actors' strike right now is in fact going on this. I just heard a podcast this morning where they said we very much lack privacy legislation in America, and we really need some kind of legislation that says a video of you doing something is somehow an invasion of your privacy, and you're not allowed to do that without your permission. But I don't think we have that framework yet. So this might not be illegal. It's certainly offensive and abusive, but it might not be breaking the law. Anyway, brave new world we're in. Let's go back to you, Caitlin, with True Social.
Yeah, so True Social, the best social network ever, accordion in hands, Trump gestures, all this stuff. It's doing so well that according to the Hollywood Reporter here, it has lost $73 million since it launched. So essentially there was a filing on Monday of True Social, and it turns out, yeah, no one's using it. It's just bleeding out money. It's not a success whatsoever, as one would expect. But I did not realize it was a $73 million failure, but it absolutely is. It is.
I've got it on my phone. I get the alerts. It's interesting to see what's on there.
I mean, you are the, just like our podcast has our singular viewer. you are one of the singular people to go on to Truth Social.
Well, I don't post on it, but I get alerts to see what they're saying there. And the most amusing thing I notice is they usually have every news story like 2 days late.
Yeah. I should clarify that you're the only person in San Francisco with True Social on your phone.
Well, that could be. There is a group of like San Francisco Republicans, and they're not happy. But anyway,
yeah.
Well, I'm interested to see. It all happened because of Hunter Biden's laptop. They said that was fake, and it wasn't fake. So after that, I pay a little more attention to the right-wing news, because sometimes they really have things that are true and not covered in the mainstream press. But mostly it's garbage.
So with Hunter Biden's laptop, what happened was it came out late and it was unconfirmed. And sometimes, a lot of times this happens, like for like the COVID lab leak, essentially, like where it came out of it looks like someone got infected who worked at the Wuhan lab. Like, we knew early on that was a possibility, but it wasn't confirmed until much later. And when you're doing reporting, you really have to confirm. You have to confirm, because 99% of the stuff is bullshit. Now, what the Republicans did is the second they found out about this, and while it was still unconfirmed, they're like, "Oh, it's Hunter Biden's laptop." Now, the mainstream news media, as soon as it was confirmed, did say, "Oh yeah, Hunter Biden's laptop is a total thing that happened." But that does not mean that the quote unquote mainstream media is lying or trying to cover up for the Democrats or anything like that.
Well, they are biased in favor of the Democrats, and I understand why. And I try to compensate for it, but I think it's because Trump is so very, very annoying that you're very angry at him, and they take some punches they shouldn't really be taking, like the 4 criminal trials. I think at least 1 or 2 of them are very poorly planned, and they're going to lose. I mean, but everybody is so mad at him, they just throw everything they can at him, whether it makes sense or not. And
once again, any sort of criminal trial against Trump is not politically motivated. Period. This is a complete fabrication from Trump. In fact, if anything, he's been given a very lenient, understanding.
I think there is a significant political influence. For example, I think the prosecution of Hunter Biden is 100% politically influenced. I mean, he had a gun for 11 days while he was a drug addict, and this is something that is almost never charged. And they're forced by politics to charge him when they shouldn't. And I think there's some of that in some of these Trump trials, but a lot of them are well justified. Like the sedition is well justified, and the documents case is well justified, although the judge is going to throw it, so it's not going to work. But that one, there they have proof he really did it. From what I understand, this stuff about fudging real estate values in New York City is in fact another one of those things that everybody else does too, and probably he's being prosecuted unfairly. But anyway, I think there is some of that. I mean, politics does have an influence on courts.
But here's the thing: if anyone doing that illegal, price fixing with real estate, should be prosecuted as well, not just Trump.
Well, it is selective prosecution. I mean, like you have a bunch of people doing it, and you only choose certain people to prosecute, and they do in fact choose prominent people to prosecute in order to win elections and get headlines and stuff.
An
example
on the county level, no, Sam. That's these are small criminal cases. These are not,
New York one.
It's New York County. I mean, come on, Sam. This is ridiculous.
No, it's the Southern District of New York City, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
really
county.
Big, they're really big time. Anyway,
it's not a state court case, Sam.
Anyway, I think anyway, I don't know where we ended up there. But anyway, the Truth Social, yeah. All right, that's anyway. I'm glad they have Truth Social, and so I suppose they ought to have a variety of platforms. But it was obviously another one of these scam, fake financial things. They claimed it was going to make money, and it was all garbage.
Yeah, exactly. It's garbage.
Like every Trump business, the business is actually a colossal failure.
Yeah, he cannot do business.
What he can do is be a reality TV show that does outrageous things to get the audience to look at him. That's his skill.
He is a social engineer at heart. Really,
he's like a geek, a performer to bite the head off a chicken. He puts on a show that is sort of disgusting but fascinating.
Yeah, no, he has talents, but his talents are not in business.
Right. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so the Europeans, I didn't know this. The Europeans have an encrypted radio protocol, maybe you know about this, called Tetra, and it has secret encryption algorithms, and they just voted that, since there were security flaws in that algorithm and we were all humiliated, maybe we should adopt real cryptographic standards and actually publish the algorithm and let people see what it is. So they haven't done that yet, but they are apparently going to do it. They've apparently caught on to what everybody else figured out 30 years ago, that you should make your algorithm public and then actually get the flaws out of it instead of making it a secret and calling that security. So that's sort of a step forward, I guess.
It is. We use something similar here. So Tetra is part of an encrypted trunked radio standard used in Europe. We do use encrypted trunked radio here, but it's managed sort of county by county, like what systems they use. So it's not standardized whatsoever, which is very, I mean, we're talking about how bad security by obscurity is, but security by overcomplicated goddamn mess no one wants to deal with is totally a thing.
I think that's all software is that way. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you like I know as a red teamer, you can go into these insecure environments, but if it is just a confusing mess, you'll just like give up and just go go do something else because it's not worth the trouble. And that's what we have in the United States is this, ununified trunked radio system where every county is using their own stuff. Anyway,
This is what makes our voting secure, right? Every county runs it independently. It's not organized enough to make a vast conspiracy.
exactly. No one's going to deal with all that. You might have some luck in your local county, but good luck using that in another. So
that's why you need to use Chinese internet satellites to like hack the voting machines.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. And you've got a giant security hole in ChatGPT. I hope you can explain this because I read this article and I did not understand it.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure myself. But I sort of understand where it's coming from. So ChatGPT has a new code interpreter, and this is on Tom's Hardware, written by Avram Pilch. And what's happening is that ChatGPT can run Python code and then verify that it's like running correctly, which is something that I think a lot of us have been wanting for a while, because the code that sometimes comes out isn't very good, and you want ChatGPT to know that, oh, I made a mistake, and to fix it. Now, in order to run this code, sometimes you're going to deal with files. So you can upload files along with your code for ChatGPT to run and make sure it's running correctly. It also turns out that whenever you run a LLM command, it mounts that shared data folder, whether or not you're testing code or not. And so what you can do is that if you're using that LLM for anything other than like your code writing, you can say, hey, read me all the documents and data and the passwords that are stored, in the shared, file library thing, and you can get it out by having ChatGPT essentially create malicious URLs using the data in the in that directory.
So how is this different than having a DOS prompt on your computer? If you type the command into the DOS prompt, it can take the data on your computer and send it to a third party. So how is this a flaw? How is this not just functioning as designed?
As far as I can tell, it is functioning as designed. But but people may not be aware that the system is not just storing data for the script. So if you integrate the ChatGPT like into your website, you can see, and if people run queries, you can essentially get data out that wasn't really designed for those queries. That was designed for code,
So you'd have to make like a joke website where they say, for a good time, copy and paste this query into your ChatGPT. And then it dumps out your crypto passwords.
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay, well, I guess
it
might work better once you've got like AI integrated in everything, like Microsoft is doing in Windows 11, where you just have like a box of AI you're using all the time, and you don't know that it's sharing data with files that you probably didn't mean it to.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, speaking of which, Copilot, Windows 11 Copilot, if people haven't updated to the most recent version, it is awesome. It is really awesome. In fact, I will show it because
I like to see it.
Yeah, let's pull
I've been
it
trying
up.
to get the teacher or student version, and you can't get it.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my entire desktop. Let's see if I can't. Okay, there we go. Now, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to move my head.
You got an awesome background image.
Thank you. I'm going to have to move my head up here. So if you click down here on the bottom left, there's now a window that'll pop up. And you can see what I've been searching. So I asked for flattering images of Barack Obama, and it actually went on the internet and it found it. I asked it to create some PowerPoint templates for me, which it did. And what else did I do? I had it. I gave it a non-deterministic answer, like, why do some people think Abraham Lincoln's the best president? I had it write the first 20 prime numbers, and it did here just fine. Made a Python script to do that, which was my first coding test. But anyway, you have this box on the right hand of your screen, and you just ask it stuff. So let's create an image of a cat hacking a computer in the style of how do you spell Escher?
Escher, I think. I don't know. Probably don't have to spell it right either. AIs are usually pretty forgiving of misspelling.
So yeah, it'll do image creation as well as standard LLM stuff, code stuff. So it does take a second when you ask it to do an image, but it's just right there on the right hand of your desktop now. There we go. So it's going to try to create that image.
Making some kind of mistake. I'll try to handle that.
There we go. It's creating it. The image is generating.
That's just the hourglass. Okay.
Yeah, so it's generating in the background. So as you can see, it's totally working. It's basically GPT-4. And there we go. We have
Stable diffusion.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We have it generated a cat.
Oh yeah.
Hacking a computer in the style of MC Escher. So
those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm impressed. You're right.
Yeah, no, it's a good AI, and it writes code very well. So let's write a COBOL. Let's see if we can do COBOL. Write a COBOL.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Program.
Yeah, now it's finally getting down to what matters.
To calculate the first 20 digits of pi.
Oh, great.
Which is so important. We need to be able to do this.
That is not easy to do in COBOL either.
No, it's not. So it takes a second, as all LMs do.
Okay, sure.
I can write a COBOL program.
Really going to do it?
Yeah, it's going to do it. Wrote COBOL. Yes, writing COBOL.
I don't know if it's going to run, but it should take quite a lot of COBOL to do that.
Yeah, it's going very slowly.
Libraries or anything, so you're going to have to really make a subroutine and choose one of the approximation algorithms and iterate it and stuff. Well, it's doing something. God knows if it's right, but it is definitely trying to do it.
It is definitely trying to write COBOL. So hats off. Yeah, no, this is the Windows 11 Copilot, I think, is something I haven't seen other people talk about, but it's a great AI on par with GPT-4. So I'm happy with it, and it's just right there on the desktop at all times. So good job, Microsoft. You made something useful. I'm
glad you showed me that. I'll have to try it more. Good.
Yeah, and it's still writing COBOL code.
Well, it's going to take about 3 or 4 pages of COBOL there. I mean, you might as well write it to ask it in assembler, and it would be about the right size.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep going.
Well, I remember when I wrote these assembly language challenges for my students, I actually did write code that would do RSA encryption in assembler. And I looked at what I was doing, and I said, I'm basically writing a whole operating system here. This is kind of getting out of hand.
Anyway. Yep, exactly. Anyway, so I think, it's almost done. But I can see where it says the first 20 digits of pi are, and it.
Yeah.
And puts that. Oh, there we go. Done. Yay.
Yeah.
It was several pages of COBOL.
Indeed. Oh, it will be. Yes. I think I expect it to be longer than that. It might not run, but still, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's the program. Oh, and then explains what the code is doing. So the program is using the something algorithm, to approximate pi to an infinite series of fractions, which I do know. I learned about that in linear algebra class.
I'll have you know, when I used Bard to calculate like the first 20 prime numbers, what it did was it just set a list equal to the first 20 prime numbers and then printed them out. It just typed them in, Googling them. I said, well, that works, but that's not quite what I wanted.
Oh, and look at this. It printed the output from the program.
Well, yeah, they always do, but it doesn't actually run it to get the output. It lies.
Yeah.
It will print out code and claim it's the output. When you run it, that's not the output.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, no, this is a really good LLM that Microsoft has put out. But of course, Microsoft bought OpenAI, so this is just
I think
GPT-4. Yeah,
I think it's ChatGPT 3.5. I'm not sure, but
no, it's 4. This is definitely 4. ChatGPT 3.5 doesn't go on the internet and like search for stuff, and it also can't generate images like this.
This can get modern stuff on the internet.
Yeah, like let's.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, let's go into news, sporting news, so we can get some game that happened last night.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about sports ball. What's happening?
Yeah,
Weekend stats. I don't know what the stats. What is a big story from the news last week?
that'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping there was a game we could ask the score for, but apparently there was no game. Searching big story from the news last week. Okay, so you see it's actually going on the internet and searching.
Oh,
There are many big news stories from the last week. And it has links too. So there was one here. So we'll click on this link.
and it actually doesn't just make up the links, the real links.
Yeah. If I could click on it. Yeah.
Ah,
Content is blocked. Oh.
no.
Oh, what? We'll try this again. Tell me the biggest headlines for today,
Okay, that's good.
since we're doing the news.
The biggest headline is clearly Copilot.
Yes, obviously.
Searching for the biggest headline.
Okay.
Okay.
NBC News, scientists in South Korea, superconducting.
Tokamak, yeah.
Yep.
That was last week. Yeah, the tokamak did something. The biggest tokamak in the world hit like fusion or something.
Yep.
Hit like plasma.
15 million degrees Kelvin. But anyways, it is working.
Oh,
It is
that's
getting
true. That's
decent data.
absolutely
Yeah.
something that happened a few days ago. So it's totally not locked in 2021 anymore.
Nope.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, no, Copilot. I've said this from the beginning. This is going to change the way we do a lot of work. We're going to all basically have secretaries,
Yeah.
that can, you ask it a question or you ask it to write something for you, and it can, help out with that. It's not gonna take away people's jobs. It's just gonna make everyone's jobs easier.
No, that's great. I'm glad you demonstrated it.
Yeah.
I'll have to play with it now. All right. Well, I think that's it for this one. And we'll have another one on Friday.